In this particular lecture, we're going to talk about a very fine paradox called the Gabriel's Gabriel's horn and Painter's paradox. Gabriel's horn and Painter's paradox. Clear? So, what does the paradox actually say? You have seen these kind of horns, right? Okay, these kind of horns. So, according to the paradox, if you have a infinitely long horn of this type, okay, infinitely long horn of this type, then you can fill the volume with paint, but cannot paint the outside. Now, what does actually mean? If you have a finite amount of paint, if you have some finite amount of paint and you pour it inside this infinitely long horn, then you can actually fill this completely inside of this particular horn. Okay, but you cannot actually have a particular volume of paint to actually use it to cover up the outside or the external surface of this particular horn. So what actually, you can sense it in this manner, that the volume is actually finite. The volume is actually finite, while the surface area we are talking about the external surface area, it is actually infinite. Are you getting it? The volume comes out to be finite, while the external surface area comes out to be infinite. Got it? So basically we need to show that only in this paradox, that the volume comes out to be finite while the surface area comes out to be infinite. So let's see how can we find out the volume. So here we will use a concept which is called the surface of revolution. Okay, surface of revolution. So we know this particular curve y equals to 1 over x. So this is what the curve actually looks like, somewhat this. Okay, we are talking about the first quadrant only. Achha, at this point, you have a point here where your x is equals to 1 and your y is also equals to 1. Now if we revolve this curve about the y-axis, then we get something of this sort, right? And this figure is same as the Gabriel's horn, also considering the fact that since this curve actually moves to infinity, so this Gabriel's horn is of infinite length as required for the paradox. Clear? Got it? So now we can use this mathematical concept to find out what the paradox actually indicates towards. So first let us check the volume, then we will be talking about the surface area. So first let us check the volume. So this is what the curve looks like actually. Got it? And we can actually break it down into small pieces of this sort. Okay, and then what we actually used to do in integration, remember we used to find the individual areas of each particular portions, and then we used to add them all up. That was the basic concept of how to find the area, right? So here we are going to use somewhat the same concept. What we are going to do is that we are going to find the volume of each individual piece and sum up. Clear? This is what actually we are gonna kind of tending to do that. So a small portion will somewhat look like this. Okay, will somewhat look like this. Okay, will somewhat look like this. Now what we can do is that we can assume this piece to be somewhat a cylinder. When we are actually considering this particular breadth is dx, that is, it is very small. This breadth is considerably very small, and this one particular piece, which is surely we are gonna assume it to be very small, this particular piece seems to be a cylinder, and this cross section has a radius of r. If this is assumed to be a cylinder, then both these cross sections are gonna have the same radius. So what is gonna be the volume of this particular cylinder? So its volume, it's gonna be pi r square dx. Clear? It's gonna be pi r square dx. Now we are going to integrate it. So integrating dv. Now from where? So basically we can integrate it from 0 to v. Let us say we are going to integrate it from 0 to v. Now what will be the limit of this particular integration? So carefully notice that the curve has an initial point at x equals to 1, and it kind of is terminating at x equals to infinity. So we are going to start with 1 and move towards infinity. We are going to take pi outside. Carefully notice one more thing, that is radius, that is basically this length, and this length is nothing but your y value. And so you can easily replace r square with y square and y square with 1 over x square. So the integration actually becomes this, and this can be integrated to be, this becomes 1 over x from 1 to infinity. This becomes 1 over 1 is 1 and 1 over infinity is 0. So the value of the volume is gonna be pi. So basically your volume comes out to be infinity. So here is, sorry, the volume is coming out to be pi. So here is one more example where a very amusing value pi has emerged out of nowhere. So basically if you are gonna have a pi amount of paint, so using this particular value of amount of paint, you can actually fill up the inside of an infinitely long Gabriel's horn. But what about the surface area, external surface area? So carefully notice that you have this as the structure, but in case of the surface area, this slant is important. While we were calculating the volume, this slant was not actually that much of importance, but when we are covering the surface area, external surface area, here this slant is important. So we are going to use the method of a conical frustum to find this particular value. Conical frustum. Clear? Conical frustum. So what is a conical frustum? Basically I'm not gonna get into bit of algebra. I'm just gonna tell you how to find the surface area. Basically if you cut open this, suppose you slit it out from here. Okay, you slit it out from here and you open it, and when you open it you will be getting a structure like this. Okay, and if you continue it like this, then you can actually get a sector of a circle. This particular portion is called the conical frustum. And what our main motto will be to make this particular length to be as small as we can. So let us consider that to be dx simply. So if this is dx, then this value becomes your dx, and what will be this? So carefully notice that so this is basically this complete circumference of the cross section. This value is this complete circumference of the cross section. So if we have some radius, say some radius r, then what will be the length of this particular portion? If you have some radius r here, the value of this particular length of this particular portion will be 2 pi r. Clear? 2 pi r. This r and the previous r, they are completely different, they are not identical. Okay, are you getting my point? If I assume some radius r of this particular cross section, then the length of this particular circumference will be 2 pi r, and so this actually comes out to be 2 pi r, and this is the dx length. And basically by the concept of conical frustum, it takes about 4 pages of algebra to prove it actually, that is area of this particular portion, the surface of a conical frustum, is nothing but 2 pi r into dx, or more appropriately or more generally speaking, if this has a length a and this has a length b, so the surface area or the area of a conical frustum is given as A times B. Clear? So here what does your area become? So your area becomes 2 pi r into dx. So ds actually becomes 2 pi r into dx. Now what is this dx here? So since I have already told that this slant is important, so dx is basically this arc length, dx is basically this arc length. So let us actually do something, it will be more conventional to find it. And we are not writing it to be dx. Let us assume it to be ds, which we usually do when we are talking about curvature and arc lengths. Okay, so this is, let us assume it to be ds. Clear? So this is actually ds. Got it? Now we actually know one thing, that this is in your +2 level or a bit of higher calculus, that your arc length value of your, what is the value of your arc? Okay, so ds actually becomes root over of 1 plus dy over dx whole square times dx. This is the value of ds. I have already maybe covered a video in my channel where I have found the rate of change of arc. If you pull dx beneath in the LHS, you will get the rate of change of arc. This is under the curvature chapter. Clear? So this is the value of ds. Now I will directly put it here. Okay, so let this be d capital S to mark the surface area. So basically integrating from 0 to capital S, d capital S. So and here you will be integrating from same from 1 to infinity. And what do you have here? You have 2 pi. So 2 pi comes out. Radius will be same as y value. So y is your 1 over x, right? So 1 over x, and here you have your root over of 1 plus. What is dy over dx? Dy over dx is 1 over minus 1 over x square. Its square will be x to the power 4. Here you have a dx. Clear? This is our integration. Now carefully notice what we need to actually prove. So we actually need to prove that integration 0 to s ds, which is equals to s, this is actually infinity. So solving this particular integration is a bit hazardous. What we can do is that we can compare it with some another integration, let's say I. So I is some other integration which is also equal to infinity, and integration 1 to infinity 1 over x root over of 1 plus 1 over x to the power 4 dx, this is greater than I. So if this integration is greater than I integration, where I integration also equals infinity, then this integration will surely come out to be infinity. We are actually using the concept of inequality. Now carefully notice here, as x increases, this value keeps on getting greater than 1. This value keeps on getting greater than 1. So as that becomes actually kind of like that, so we can assume I to be the integration 1 to infinity 1 over x root over of 1 dx, which is equal to integration 1 to infinity 1 over x dx, which is ln x from 1 to infinity. Ln of infinity is infinity, so this actually becomes infinity, since integration 1 to infinity 1 over x root over of 1 plus 1 over x to the power 4 dx is greater than infinity. That implies to integration 1 to infinity 1 over x integration 1 plus 1 over x to the power 4 dx equals infinity. That implies that your integration 0 to s ds, which is equals to capital S, that is also equals to infinity. So therefore what happens is that your external surface area equals infinity. Therefore there is no finite amount of paint which we can use to actually cover the whole external surface area of a infinitely long Gabriel's horn, and that is what all the paradox actually means.